Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video on Cycle Fanatix. I have a really important video for you guys today. So you're definitely gonna wanna stay tuned and watch this video to its entirety because this video might save you thousands of dollars and a huge headache.
Like a drug that I just can't deny, giving me the best high. My body's shaking every time you get into my mind. Like a fire, burning wild.
Hey guys, hope all is well. Let me tell you something. It's been brutal over here in northern New Jersey. It's been probably about 110 degrees real feel with 100% humidity. It has been crazy for the last 3 or 4 days. Haven't been able to even get out on a ride. It's just been absolutely disgusting out. I would rather ride in 5-degree weather than this type of weather that we're having here in New Jersey. And you guys know I love riding in the cold. I'll ride all winter long. But this weather, it's just absolutely unbearable on the bike, especially from the heat and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, let's get right down to it. This video is, I mean, crazy important. So hey guys, you should definitely watch this video all the way to the end because this can prevent you guys from losing a ton of money. And I'm talking about thousands of dollars and a gigantic headache. So just watch it to the end, because this actually happened. I'm sure it happens to a lot of people, but this actually just happened. I will go over in its entirety for you guys. So if you guys remember a couple months ago, JD Cycle Works had a Bikes and Breakfast. We were over there and a gentleman, his name is Rocco, came all the way down from Detroit, Michigan to bring his bike over to JD Cycle Works to get it looked at. Mind you, after getting a 128 big bore kit, okay, on his Street Glide with a 107. So this is very important. Street Glide, 107, 128 big bore kit. So he had it done by one of the local dealerships in his area. I'm not going to say any names. This video is not about hurting anybody or pointing fingers and stuff like that. They didn't do right by him and they did admit fault, but by then it was too late. And he actually, through my videos, he actually called Dave. He actually called several bike builders and engine builders, but no one responded back to him. And the minute he called Dave, Dave responded to him that same day. So he said to himself, Dave's my man. So while I was at the Bikes and Breakfast at Dave over at JD Cycle Works, here comes Rocco, drove in with his wife, had his truck and a trailer and brought his beautiful bike. I'll show you guys some of the footage here. And he basically brought his bike over to Dave to take a look at and see what is wrong, because the bike was not running properly. It was backfiring, it was spitting flames, it was coughing out of the intake, out of the filter. It was pretty horrible. So this is what I need to go over with you guys. So we have a 107 motor on his bike and he decided to do 128 big bore kit, and the dealer basically told him yes, he could do it, and they purchased a, I believe, S&S 128 big bore kit for his 107. So now here is the thing. If you have a 107, the crank and the stroke meaning how far does that piston come up and down, okay, while the crankshaft is rotating. So on a 107, the stroke of that motor is 4.38 of an inch or 4 3/8 of an inch. Whereas the 114 stroke is 4.5 inches, meaning piston goes up and down 4.5 inches. So in order to create the extra cubic inches with a 128 kit or 124, whatever have you, by S&S or a zippers kit, the cubic inches are actually accumulated by increasing the deck height. And deck height means from where the jug mounts to the case to the top. So they actually extend that, and that's how you get the cubic inches, by not losing wall thickness on the cylinder. So this is what he went to that dealership. He said he wanted a 128 kit. So they sold him an S&S kit, 128 big bore kit, to put on his 107. The thing is, you can't do that. You cannot put the 128 kit on a 107 with a 4 3/8 stroke. Here's why. Because that kit uses deck height, so the deck height is actually going to be taller in order for you to get the 128 cubic inches out of the motor. But the problem is the 128 kit from S&S and Zippers is only meant to be on a 114. You cannot install the S&S and Zippers kit, 128 big bore kit, on a 107. It has to go on a 114. So if you want to go 128 kit, big bore kit, you can use the Harley Davidson kit, which actually does not gain cubic inches by deck height. It actually gains the cubic inches by cylinder width. So it doesn't go tall, it goes wider. But here's the thing. You're going to lose cylinder wall thickness, meaning strength, possibly, potentially, correct? So a lot of people do not want to go that route. They don't want to lose that extra cylinder thickness and lose strength in order to get the 128 out of a 107. So that's what they sold him. They put the 128 kit from S&S on his 107. So here's what happened. They put the 128 kit cylinders on his 107. The stroke is only 4 3/8 of an inch. The compression is not correct. So he had potentially 128 cubic inches on the motor, but it's never gonna run right because the compression isn't there. That piston is only going up 4 3/8 inch, and you'll never get the correct compression in order to have the bike properly running. Never going to happen. So now, where is Rocco at this point? Dave actually looked inside of the engine just to confirm with the camera, took pictures and everything, and it was correct, and he verified it that they did sell him an S&S 128 big bore kit because he checked all the numbers on the inside and it confirmed that it was an S&S 128 big bore kit. So now basically what do you do? Do you lose all that money and replace it with the proper 124 kit if you don't want to lose thickness on the cylinder walls? You need to stay at 124. That's why people always, with a 107, go to 124 in order to get that correct compression. So I believe actually Toll has the 124 muscle kit. That's why he didn't go to the 128, because the only other way around to repair that problem is to totally pull apart the case, the motor, and to replace the crank and the rod in order to get the correct stroke, which is, who's gonna do that? That's incredible amount of money, incredibly big job. What's the point? So basically now Rocco is stuck with a 128 kit on his 107 from S&S that should have never been installed on the bike, with way too low compression, bike's not running right. Dave basically explained to him what is going on, and the only way to repair that problem, once you're already halfway into it, halfway deep, you're up to your neck in crap already. So what do you do after all that trouble, now that you just invested all this money into a 128 kit that should have never been put on a bike? Well, here is Rocco's situation. So basically it was either A, take the 128 jugs back off and replace them with 124 jugs, huge money, probably another $2-3 grand, or take the jugs off and replace the pistons, put the correct piston, a taller piston in to regain that compression and the stroke. But still, you're talking about a gigantic job, thousands of dollars. So Dave was actually able to get the bike running as best as he could with his tuning abilities. So the bike is still, it's running good. I think he still was able to get horsepower numbers in the range of in the 130s and torque in the 130s, but it's just still not at the potential that he could have been because of the wrong kit combination that he was sold. So you guys definitely need to be aware of this, and before you go doing 124 big bore kit, 128, 131, you guys definitely need to talk to a reputable company and definitely do your research of what you can do and what you can't do, and all of the different combinations, because there's a lot of combinations. That's Rocco's story. I think he picked the bike up last weekend. So, you know, you basically need to be aware of this, that again, I'm gonna tell you, for a 107, if you wanna do S&S and zippers, you have to stay with the 124 big bore kit. If you do have the 114 stock motor on a special like I have, you can go up to 128. So, and that's what we did. So that is the correct, being that this has a 4.5 stroke, that is the correct stroke for a 128 kit. And then basically, as far as slight changes to compression, you can do with head gasket thicknesses, which is incredible. I didn't know that, obviously, until we did the build on my bike and Dave explained that to me. It's very interesting. If you guys are interested in that, click that pop-up banner and it'll take you through the entire 128 build series that we did on my bike. So yeah, so you could get yourself into a whole heap of trouble. So definitely make sure and be aware and do your research. Make sure you ask the right questions. But again, like I'm saying, 107, stay at 124, 114, you could go up to the 128 from S&S or zippers, and you will definitely have no issues. And hopefully this helped, because I know that you guys work hard for your money and you definitely don't want to get into the same problem as Rocco did, and then you're out a whole lot of money, your bike's not running properly, and you know, you're just going to save yourselves a ton of trouble. So on another note, guys, I don't know if you guys seen, but we are doing an amazing ride for you guys here in 2 weeks. I cannot wait. We are heading down to Tennessee to meet with Traveling Tall, Robert Simmons Paying It Forward, Queen Sit, just to name a few. There's gonna be a ton of more YouTubers there. Barber CVO19, my boy, is coming with me here from New Jersey down to Tennessee. So I cannot wait. We're gonna be riding the Tail of the Dragon on Friday and doing a whole bunch of other cool rides and roads down there. And then just for you guys, the subscribers and viewers, come down to Bootlegger Harley Davidson, July 17th. That's Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We are doing a meet and greet. We're all going to be there. And then after that, we're going to be taking a ride with anybody that wants to come along through the Foothills Parkway. And then heading back to Bootlegger Harley Davidson for food. I think they're going to have a concert, some music there, food. A couple vendors are going to be there. If anybody is interested in coming down and want to bring a trailer, call Tony at Bootlegger Harley Davidson, because he's actually unbelievable. What a great gesture, great guy. He's actually allowing, if you let him know as soon as possible, he's actually allowing people to actually park their trailers at Bootlegger Harley Davidson parking lot. So give Tony a call. As well as if anybody of you guys want to come, Tall from Traveling Tall would like to know. So I'm going to leave his email right there, travelingtall124 fanatix@gmail.com. Hit him up on an email, and he would like to know who's going to be in attendance for the ride, just so he could basically get a head count. If any of you guys are going to be around Sunday, potentially Robert Simmons paying it forward might have a slow speed course going on Sunday. Yeah, stick around for that. So I can't wait. It's going to be awesome content. It's going to be absolute amazing collaboration with these awesome YouTubers. So stay tuned. All right, guys, I hope it cools down over here. But until then, until the next time, see you guys later.